The divorce papers were sitting on my desk, already signed by me, when I heard my wife laughing behind a closed bedroom door. It was a laugh I hadn't heard in months. I had spent the entire morning convincing myself that ending our marriage was the only way to stop the pain. But then I heard her say my name, and what came next made my hand freeze over the divorce papers. Before we get into this emotional story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love to heal broken relationships, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to Humanity Tales. Sometimes, the person we are ready to give up on is the person who has been quietly fighting for us all along. My name is Daniel, and for almost 8 years, I believed I had married the woman of my dreams. Emily was kind, patient, and somehow able to find light in even the darkest moments. When we first met, I was struggling to build my small construction business, and she was working 2 jobs just to help support herself. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Our first apartment was so small that our dining table touched the kitchen counter, but every night we ate together and talked about our dreams. Then life changed. My business finally became successful. We moved into a beautiful house, bought a better car, and stopped worrying about whether the electricity bill would be paid on time. But somewhere along the way, I began measuring our marriage by things money couldn't fix. Emily became quieter. She stopped asking me about my day. She spent more time on her phone and often went to bed early. Whenever I tried to talk, she seemed distracted. I started believing she didn't love me anymore. And instead of asking her what was wrong, I did what many people do when they are hurt. I assumed the worst. I convinced myself that there had to be someone else. There were evenings when she would receive messages and smile at her phone. If I entered the room, she would quickly put it away. Once, I asked her who she was talking to. She simply said it was a friend. That answer destroyed me. Over the next few months, I became cold. I stopped holding her hand. I stopped telling her I loved her. Arguments became normal, silence became our language, and eventually I hired a lawyer. I told myself I wasn't leaving because I hated her. I was leaving because I thought she had already left me emotionally. The night before I planned to give her the divorce papers, I came home earlier than expected. I walked upstairs and heard voices coming from our bedroom. Emily had 2 of her closest friends over. I was about to announce myself when I heard one of them say my name. I stopped. Then Emily spoke. Her voice was trembling. She said that she was terrified I would leave her. My heart began pounding. One of her friends asked why she hadn't told me the truth. Emily started crying. She said she had been hiding something from me, but not because she was cheating. She was hiding it because she didn't want me to feel guilty. Then she revealed the secret. For the past 11 months, Emily had been quietly paying the medical bills for my mother. My mother had been struggling with expensive treatments, and Emily knew that my business was going through a difficult period despite what I had told everyone. Instead of telling me she had used her savings, Emily secretly paid the bills herself. The messages I had seen on her phone weren't from another man. They were from the hospital. The person she had been meeting after work wasn't a lover. It was my mother. Emily had been visiting her, taking her groceries, helping her around the house, and making sure she never felt alone. Then Emily said something that broke me completely. She told her friends that she knew I was unhappy with her. She said she had noticed how distant I had become. But instead of blaming me, she blamed herself. She wondered whether she wasn't beautiful enough anymore, whether she wasn't making me happy, and whether she had somehow become a burden in my life. Her friend asked why she still defended me after everything. Emily wiped her tears and whispered that because I had once been the man who believed in her when nobody else did. She said she remembered the tiny apartment, the cheap dinners, and the nights when we had nothing but each other. And she said she would rather lose everything than become another reason for me to suffer. I couldn't breathe. I looked down at the divorce papers in my hand. Suddenly, Every accusation I had made against her felt like a knife pointed at myself. I had mistaken her exhaustion for indifference, her secrecy for betrayal, her silence for rejection. And while I had been preparing to walk away, she had been quietly holding my family together. I walked into the bedroom. Emily's face went pale when she saw me. She immediately understood that I had heard everything. I didn't say anything at first. I simply placed the divorce papers on the bed and tore them into pieces. Emily began crying. I told her that I was sorry. Not the kind of apology people make just to end an argument. I apologized for every time I had assumed instead of asking. For every night I had turned away when she needed me. For believing a story created by my fear instead of trusting the woman who had spent nearly a year protecting the people I loved. That night, we sat on the bedroom floor until sunrise. For the first time in months, we talked honestly. We talked about money, fear, family, loneliness, and the quiet distance that had grown between us. And we made a promise. We would never again let silence make decisions for us. Our marriage didn't magically become perfect the next morning. Healing doesn't work that way. But something important changed. We started listening again. We started eating dinner together. We started asking simple questions like, "How was your day?" and actually waiting for the answer. Months later, my mother recovered enough to return home, and Emily was standing beside me when she walked through the door. I looked at my wife and realized something I should have understood much earlier. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes love looks like someone secretly paying a bill. Sometimes it looks like visiting your family when you're too busy to notice. Sometimes it looks like staying when walking away would be easier. And sometimes, the person you think has stopped loving you is actually fighting battles you cannot see. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Humanity Tales. Your support helps us continue sharing stories about kindness, forgiveness, and second chances. And before we end, I want you to leave one special comment: I believe in second chances. Because sometimes, a marriage doesn't need another goodbye. Sometimes, it simply needs two people willing to listen before it's too late. And Daniel learned that lesson on the very day he thought his marriage was over.